show of hands, please. I see 6 in favor. Minutes are approved. Brings us to the city clerk's report, which is the financial report. You have all this in your packet. Clerk, if you'll just get the highlights.
Administrative. The expenses were $275,677.37. Law enforcement was $877,210 for the expenses. Fire, the expenses are $464,464.28. Sanitation, expenses are $624,318.17. Building codes is $16,224.36. District court expenses are $50,472.31. Municipal building, $17,906.72. Recreation is $134,175.81. Cultural center is $4,734. Armory is $14,756.05. Shooting range is $32,131.13. Senior citizen is $8,768.55. Other is $3,322.42. The airport was $24,152.85. And economic development was $23,785.30. And that's the, and street. Expenses of $341,145.37.
Okay, what the clerk read to you, of course, was the year-to-date expenditures in each one of our budgetary categories. So that's January 2023 through July 2023. Of course, you have the July individual monthly in the first column, which you can look at as well.
Move that we approve the revenue and expenditures as well as what is given to us, the expenses.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, I think, with Mr. Tollfree on the second. Is there question or discussion about any of the finances? I will tell y'all that we will have to look at a couple of the categories between now and September. There's probably going to be a budgetary amendment on a few things, so but just y'all can see that when you look at it and see what's budgeted. But okay, any discussion? All those in favor, show of hands. I see 6 in favor. Thank y'all very much. And of course, you also have a copy of our cash balances on all of our accounts. And just for the public's information here, we've got about, so I'm reading this right. It's like our cash balances are about ending balance $3,967,331.22. That's our cash balances on hand. A lot of those are restricted funds and different things, but that's what we got right now. Okay, would you go ahead with the city sales tax and county sales tax?
The city sales tax for, last month was $89,988.48. And on the county side, it was $61,596.18.
And what did you say the city was?
The city is $89,988.48.
It's just as a point here where the the city sales tax is like 2% down this year from last year, but we were 14% up on the month. So, funny how that can happen sometime. And then, of course, our share of the county tax is what she's talking about there, and that's actually up a percentage for the year and 12% for the month. So, bottom line is our sales tax revenues continue to be good and strong. I would call them that anyway, just so. Anybody got any questions? You got the district court report also, as always, presented by the court for your information. Okay. Mayor's report, I have it listed under there. We have an appointment. I'll recognize Council Member Memory Burks Frazier, present that.
For
There is
the,
information in the packet.
right, there's a resume for Josh Escamilla in your packet, but I'd like to nominate him, or appoint him to the Civil Service Commission to fill the vacancy that was, that was left by,
Ball forward.
that's right, Mr. Ford. So I move that we appoint Josh Escamilla to the Civil Service Commission.
Second.
Okay, I think, Councilmember Atkins made the second. Appropriate motion is second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, show of hands. I see 6 in favor. Thank y'all very much. That does give us a full Civil Service Commission. I did want to just mention, I've got it on here, we do not have anything for y'all to act on at this point, but we have been out for proposals, been working on this really all year, but we've been out for proposals on IT proposals for, we have a company that's been doing that for us, and anyway, we just felt like we need to look at the proposals again. This company has kind of told us they don't want to work for us anymore. They're still doing it right now, but they're not very happy apparently, and it's kind of a mutual feeling from the administrative standpoint, but we're functioning. We did get some proposals, but we're trying to go through those. It's a lot to those, the information that we asked for, and we will be bringing something back to you, okay? We're not there. Everything's functioning. But I did want you to be aware of that. That's something, this is very important. This is dealing with all of our computers and our programs and all that type of thing. We also have got, we've taken bids in effect on 2 roof projects, this building and the Emergency Services Center. And I want to just tell you, there's nothing in your packet, because again, I'm not asking you to act on this tonight, because we got several things we've got to talk about. Number one, how to pay for these 2 roofs. Now, we're not having leaks or anything at the moment, but the roofs are, we've had architects look at them, and they're just, they're gonna have to be replaced. And we put the specs together with the help of a Cromwell firm. They were in town, helped us with the cultural center, and we just asked them to look at the roofs. And so we put the proposals out. We've got 2 bids on each, same 2 companies. One of them is the T.F. Thompson Company. They bid on the this building, the the municipal building. Our specs called for a 25-year warranty, and they bid $130,000. They did give us an alternative bid. Get myself confused here. There's another company called Midwestern that bid on the exact same proposal, 25-year warranty, $115,270. But they gave us an alternative bid as well. This is part of why we're still looking into these specs. They gave us a 20-year warranty, a separate proposal for, and what it amounts to is a little bit less material that would go under the roof. Rob can explain this to you better than I can, but we're gonna need to talk about it in committee later. But that's $62,270. Now, again, this is on this building, the one we're setting in. Complete new roofs, two different, got two of the same proposals, but one alternate proposal. Then on the Emergency Services Center, the T.F. Thompson Company, 25-year warranty, hold your breath, $244,500. Then Midwestern also bid, same 25-year warranty, $214,720. But they again gave us an alternate proposal on the Emergency Services building, 20-year warranty, $182,270. And what we want to do before y'all act on this, because it's a lot of money involved here, we want to do two things. I want to consult with the architect, see if they believe this 20-year proposal is a suitable bid to properly repair our roofs. And if so, of course, we'd probably give the other company a chance to make a proposal as well, because we didn't bid that out. And the other thing is, I'd like just a little bit of time to see if I can't find some financing that might help us, especially on the Emergency Services building. Any way you wrap this up, this is gonna be a lot of money when you put the two buildings together. And it's possible that I might could find something, or even a very low interest loan through maybe Farmers Home Administration, rural development. Had some contact with them. I mean, even that would be, give us a little cash flow help. So that's, I would like to talk, with the Ways and Means Committee about this, and in the meantime, try to get some more information. Move as rapidly as we can, but since we don't have anything that's, at this moment, causing us any damage, I think we've got a little bit of time. If y'all got a different suggestion, what you wanna do, I'm open to it, but I wanna at least get some numbers here to tell you what we're talking about.
Question, bro.
Yes, sir.
On the warranties, I understand that, but do they have a projected life of each one of them? On 20 year or?
Well, that's what they're giving you now. Is Rob out there? Rob, I think you heard just what all, I hope you did, when I was telling you about the roofs. Now, we got the two bids on the 25 years, and then we got the one on the 20 years.
Correct.
Now, is there an estimated life even beyond that? I think that's what Mr. Tollfree's asking.
They always tell me you get anywhere from 5 to 10 more than what your warranty.
Okay.
Your 20 give you 30, 30 should give you 40, unless we have, hail, something like that.
Unless we can get something that
Yeah,
makes our insurance do it, but,
What materials?
it's a Dura land.
I just want y'all to be fully aware of what's going on. We don't have to accept any of this, we can do something else, but I would like to at least, pursue a little bit more to see if there's any possibility I can find some financing that might help us. And then, we don't have to do them both at the same time. But we can't go, on and on forever without getting these roofs fixed. I mean, we've already seen that around Warren.
But currently, there's no leakage or anything.
I don't think so.
Not on the emergency services, right now. But the emergency services has problems, it's the reason that the price went up. After the engineer looked at it, at first we got a price of just covering it with Duralax. And after we got the guy that looked at the cultural center, look at this building, everything that's on top of it has to come off now, because it's been there too long, it's done got in some really bad shape, that's under rotting. And that's the whole major price of the emergency services, because underneath side is in bad shape, so.
Would there be any feasibility to go to a pitch roof instead of a flat?
Good question. I'm certainly a pitch roof guy myself whenever you can do something like that, but it'll probably cost more.
Yeah, you have a lot of
I mean,
units,
on the
you have a
front
lot of
end.
units on it.
Okay.
Is your only hold back on that.
Yeah, that's true too. That's a good question, though, Mr. Toll-Free. I agree with you. I promise you, if I ever get to build anything else, it's gonna have a pitch roof on it. It's not gonna be flat, but we're living with what we got right now, so. This is for your information, and then we will pursue it as fast as we can. It's not a emergency, but then, you know, may wake up one morning and we have one, so we'll just have to deal with it as best we can. Anybody got any questions or any comments? Okay, thank you. Thank you all, and, I'm certainly open to y'all's ideas now, what you think we need to do. Only thing I can tell you is we're gonna have to do something, you know, in the not too distant future, because if we don't, we'll have a lot more problems. All right, the last item I have, under the mayor's report is a proposal from the Clinton School. And there is an email, in your one-page email there, but let me just briefly explain this. I was put on to this, by Mr. Skip Rutherford. I ran into him at a funeral, and he's a former dean of the school up there. I've known him for many, many years, but he told me that he knew a student that was working on his master's degree in public service in the school there, and that he has to do a project, and that he wants to do something that relates to local rural communities. Kind of thought we fit that category, so I bottom line made contact with a young man. His name is Seth Wyatt. We talked about what could be done. He had to go back and talk to his dean and get approval. This is no cost to the city, other than he may have to make a little bit of a few trips, and if he does, I think we ought to, you know, pay him some mileage for it. And I'm not talking about a lot of money here. I would probably ask y'all to approve something like maybe $350 or something. If it gets more than that, we'll talk about it, but something of that nature. What we talked about him doing is doing a kind of an economic study on the possibilities of how we can recruit and locate more retail businesses. This is not really an industrial recruiting effort. Most businesses, and I'm talking about chain stores and, you know, fast food places and you know, any kind of business, retail business. Most of the big ones, the corporations, they have criteria as to where they will locate and where they will not locate. Population, all kinds of, you know, age demographics and all kinds of things. And of course, a lot of them are franchise operations where somebody has to purchase a franchise. Most of you fast food places would fit into that category. So I've talked to him about doing two things specifically for Warren. This would be part of his study, and what he would do for his master's degree is, number one, make contact with as many of these type businesses that we even think would be interested in a town like Warren, and, you know, find out what their criteria is. See if we'd even be in the running. And secondly, maybe give us some ideas as to who, as a city, as a chamber of commerce, that we need to make contact with and try to talk them into taking a look at, you know, coming to Warren. That is our concept. This would be I don't know how long it would take, probably a semester of his schooling. We're not talking about something that's going to drag out for years and years. It'd be something that he would do, present a report to the city. Again, no cost to the city other than possibly a little mileage, because he'll have to come down from Little Rock some and be down here some. Most of it he'll probably do from there. I want to know if the city council is interested in this. I think it's worth a try, and it's not going to cost us much.
I know that the city moved forward with the Clinton School, and utilized the
that's an appropriate motion. Is there a
Second.
second? I think Alderman Toll-Free beat a couple of them to the punch, but I'm gonna give him the credit for it. Second, is there any other discussion? It's just as simple as I pointed out. All in favor, show
I
of
got
hands.
it.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry,
got a
I'm sorry.
question, bro.
Yes, sir.
When he gets started, I wish he would concentrate on one thing. I don't know if everybody aware of it, but our zip code is being shopped to other corporations from surrounding cities.
Really?
Our 71671 to bring that population up for the area. And so I wish we
Then
could,
I can't guess who that might be doing that.
but I wish we could concentrate on other companies that hadn't been shopped.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
So we could shop theirs for a change.
I will make sure that's made known. I didn't know that. So,
I know it's done online,
really,
because you can get a cheaper, for certain zip codes, you can get a cheaper tax.
really.
Yeah, they go in a certain circle, you know, like they'll give them that certain territory for if you franchisee, and nobody else can come in that area. And so they take that and use us for their area and our population to give them that little extra boost.
Interesting. Other questions or comments? That's good information. All in favor, show of hands. 6 in favor. Thank y'all very much. I appreciate that. Okay, we're ready for public comments. First of all, councilmen, we got 3 people signed up. But council members, do y'all have somebody that you want to introduce tonight, or somebody that I don't have on the list? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and, Ms. Jones? Ms. Jones?
That's me.
Yes, ma'am. You can come as far as you want to there, but you can come up to the podium if you'd like to. It don't matter.
Sounds good.
Just come right on through there.
All right, thank you.
And I think, subject she's got here involves the bake shop. I think that's
No, not the bake, the
is that
bake.
correct?
Oh,
Wait,
bake,
Bake.
yes.
Okay, yes, ma'am, you're recognized.
Thank you, citizens of Warren, for allowing me to give you my little 2 cents. I'm not gonna keep you long. It was brought to, my name is Juanita Jones. I am a proud, resident of Warren. And it was brought to my attention a couple of days ago that they're going to, the pawn shop was sold, and it's going to be a bake shop. We've got a smoke shop on the end of Main, we got a smoke shop across right by Revenue, we got another one over there, and now they're going to open up another one. I don't have any children here, but what happens to the children will indirectly affect me. It doesn't matter whose children they are. So, I mean, I'm not here to point but I just want to kind of give you some food for thought. We also have some businesses here that take and they don't give back. We've got the service stations and they don't even live here. That again is an issue for me. It's like I'm spending my money with you, but you don't live here and you don't put any money into the community. You take our money and then you go back to your residence. So my thought is that possibly, that someone should at least talk to them. I don't have a problem with it. And, maybe because sometimes people don't quite understand that because they have a business somewhere, they don't feel an obligation to give back to the city, and you should. It's your obligation. I live here, I pay taxes here. I really get insulted when I have to go to Walmart and spend my money, but hey, it is what it is. So that's just my little 2 cents. Like I said, I'm not gonna keep it. I just wanted to make you aware that we don't need another smoke shop. We really don't. There's plenty of places and plenty of things to do that we need to involve children. I saw a 10-year-old vaping on YouTube. Really? So to have another one of those there, and I think we have 4, pretty soon some more are gonna come in, some more are gonna come in, some more are gonna come in. And then we'll probably known as a little town of Warren of vapors or whatever, but I love this little town, and I just think that, it should just be taken a little more serious about the businesses that do come in. You know, and I think that the businesses have an obligation to give back to our community. And that's my 2 cents.
Ms. Jones, can I ask
Yes.
a question?
Sure.
Where again is this new one going in? I wasn't aware of
Mark.
The pawn shop, the old pawn shop, the guy that owns the,
Oh, I got you, over on Martin Street.
right.
Yes, ma'am, okay.
Yeah, so-
Wasn't aware of that.
They're in there, yeah, they're in there working on it, and I asked him, I said, what are you doing? What are you gonna open up? And he said, oh, it's gonna be a vape shop. I said, what? So, yeah,
They're kind of growing all over the place, that's true. Yeah.
well, you know, it could be misconstrued. I mean, we've got children, we've got adults, I mean, there's some other things that could go in there besides that. But, again, I think maybe if they're gonna do that, I think that they should have a certain amount of responsibility to Warren. I really do. I think that, they should, you know what I'm saying, I would request that, you know what I'm saying, that they get involved in community things and get involved, especially if they don't live here. You know, you take the money and then you go home, so. Anyway, that's my 2 cents, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Well, I learned something, so thank you for letting us know that. Okay, Mr. Billy Joe Harding, I think you wanted to make some comments. You've done this, now, we'll probably have a report a little bit later on some of our properties, and I think this is what, Mr. Harding talked about, but you're recognized, sir. Go right ahead.
My name is Billy Joe Harding, most of you know me. I've lived in this town, grew up in this town all my life. I love Warren. I love the community here. I love my home. And I think if a person gonna have peace, they ought to be able to come home and have peace at their home. I have a property next to me owned by David Forrest. This ain't the first go-round that we had with David by keeping the property clean. That's all I've ever asked, to keep the property clean and keep the bush off. I think the first time this year, I think about last week, he bush hauled it, after I put in a complaint. And then he just bush hauled half the field. Next to my house, I have pictures on my phone, next to my house is still on the road up. And, I have a burro, a donkey out there in the field. And, every night, it hollering all over the night. And I can't sleep. I have, issues that happen to me in the service. And I can't hardly sleep at night. This thing is hollering 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Hollering. And then the bad thing, it stays right there in my front yard, but people come up and feed it. So it stays right there at my house. And then there's a pile of dung right there at my back door. And you can't walk out my house without smelling it. Had Rob came over this afternoon and talked to me, and he walked up to my car where you can smell it. You know, I love barbecuing, I love being in my backyard, you know, and if I can't come home and enjoy my own house, what can I go? You know, I think it's unfair, you know, for that should be put upon me. All I'm asking is city council to do the right thing. And, you know, we talk about making people clean up their property. That goes for me and everybody else in here. Nobody's exempt from that. So I think, you know, he should be made to keep up his property. I don't have anything personal against that. You know, I try to get along with anybody. You know, I can get along with anybody. But I just want to be treated right. You know, I keep up on my property, and I expect my neighbor to keep up theirs. That's all I ask. And like I said, the noise, I'm gonna put a complaint about the noise because like I said, I can't sleep at night. You know, when I do get to sleep, that donkey hollering 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, I can't go back to sleep on my all night. So I just asked the city council to, you know, if they could, give me some type of relief. That's all I ask. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And the last person I have here is Miss Virginia Phillips. Thought I saw her back here, she's back here on the back row. Come on down, Miss Virginia.
That is easy. Maybe I'll go to this, revival.
Come on over here. Your
been talking about, the roads, and I know I'm on the list now. But, the road on the west side, I was so scared somebody gonna hit me or I'm gonna get in the ditch. They too narrow. They are too narrow. When you redo them, can you widen them just a little bit? Cause one day, we all gonna be old, what we gonna do? Just stop, hold up traffic, cause I'm not gonna get in the ditch. Then if somebody hits you, insurance gonna go up and all that stuff, I have to do with that. And, I was taught young to respect my elders. And I still do that to this day. Because that's what my parents still do. Did I do everything my parents said? No. But they instilled that. So this long, I'm not doing it, trying to be mean. But I've been asking for the Lord ever since 2021. And I was a little hurt when we had Mayor Pennington. And that's fine, I know she want her road done too, just like everybody else. I have no problem with that. It was somebody representing her. And she had all the names of the people. And you asked her for the name. Okay? Man, you talked in the hall. Now I said, do you want my name? You told me no. I want no why. This month. You wouldn't accept my name, but you accept if that that was a problem with me. And you don't have to answer me, I probably already know. But we all members. And they're continuing to call my husband at the housing authority, please, Mayor Reed, I know you know Mike John pretty good. Tell them to tell somebody they need to call. Because you know my husband, he gonna answer the call, he gonna call the air conditioning guy, that's just him. But what if we out of town?
I'm not sure
When they
I
on call
understand.
on the weekend.
Her husband used to be the main district.
Well, I knew that, but I thought he retired.
He did, but they still call. Because they don't know who to
The
call.
residents.
Oh, the residents?
Yeah.
Oh, I got you, okay,
They don't know who to
okay,
call.
I got you.
And so it's hot.
I will, see if I can't talk to them and make sure they let their residents all know that he's
Right.
not. But I tell you why they called him, cause he always did a good job.
He did, they said,
Well, oh.
yeah, they said that.
But I understand, I'll
Yeah.
see if I can't
And
address
he'll
that,
call
okay?
Matt, you know,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
that's what he do. He don't wanna let me know he'll go in the room. Matt, can you go chill
We
out?
can try to help with that.
Yeah, and I
We'll
don't
do our
mind
best,
him
okay?
that because the elders,
Yeah,
you know, it's hot.
yes, ma'am,
And nobody,
okay.
elders or anybody needs to be in a park.
You mentioned streets. Why, what streets are you referencing? What street are you talking about?
The back on Butler, and then you go down Pierce. Lord.
Pearson?
Yeah,
Butler and Pearson?
yeah. I see a street I come that way, I'm going all the way around. I know I burned up on gas.
We appreciate it, thank you for the comments,
Are you saying you came to the public hearing? Did you come to the public, what are you talking about in the hallway? I'm not following you there.
The street meeting?
You went to the public
It was a
hearing?
regular street, I mean, a regular full city council meeting.
I had to go to a doctor, I had a doctor's woman in Little Rock. I missed it.
Oh,
And
okay.
you know, I had to be, I got up to my heart.
Well, you said something about your name, your streets were not accepted. I got lost there.
It is accepted. What I said, my names weren't accepted.
She had a petition.
All the residents on your street?
Yes.
Okay.
And Mr. Brandon, we standing there, know about our street?
That's right.
Yeah.
I live across, but we on the same side of the street, so a couple houses from each other. Mine come a couple houses before hers, on the left, going in, off that street. So there's a big hole out there in the road. I understand when the mail heavy metal truck come through there, it's gonna make a lot of noise and stuff like that.
Let me just tell y'all, on maintenance issues like a hole you're talking about, if y'all was just call the mayor's office, we'll certainly try to get something, you know, taken care of as far as that's concerned. Now,
Okay.
and Miss Virginia, you're right about a lot of the marriage streets. You are absolutely right. The problems that we have there, just to be perfectly honest with you, we don't have right of way on a lot of those streets. Of course, some of them have to have some pretty good sized ditches for drainage, and that gets factors into it. But we can't take people's property to widen the street. We
No,
can't do that,
this,
so.
the street, it's on
But-
that go where they haven't been cleaned.
The other option is to make some one-way streets. And I know the council talked about that years past, that don't always go over very good with most of the neighborhood, but I just wanted you to understand that about the narrative.
Yeah.
As far as these problems of holes or ditch needs work done, please just give up, call us here, and we will try our best to get those things addressed.
But, you know, somebody came out one week, then it rained the next week, and then it was the same way. So, to me, that's defeating the purpose, cause you're spending money doing that with this stuff, and we can just do the whole thing.
But we're trying to work on all the streets, we're kind of jumping around town, different neighborhoods. Thank you,
Yes, ma'am. All right.
thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
All right.
And thank y'all for listening.
Yes, ma'am, yes,
Thank you.
ma'am.
I feel a little out of this for now.
Thank you for coming. You tell Herman I'll try to get him off the hook, okay?
You know
I know one of the, and I've done put him to work, I've done put him on the
Yeah.
planning commission, so I gave him a more job, a non-paying one. Thank you. All right, thank y'all very much. That's all we had on the list. I'm gonna try to pick up the speed here, but again, I won't, run off leave. If council members got any questions or anything. Police chief,
Do we need to go into executive session?
well, I thought we might do that when we got to the Community and Economic Development Committee, if that's okay.
Sure.
Cause that did have something there and whatever. Police chief is there. Chief Hildreth, you are recognized. They have your monthly report.
Thank you, Mayor, thank you, appreciate it. Good evening, everyone, I believe everyone has gotten my monthly report. It's been an eventful month.
I was gonna say, y'all been busy.
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. But nothing unusual to report. I think we pretty much have all of the statistics in the report for you. The good news is the new vehicles they're currently on patrol, they're outfitted, and also we use them just in time for school to start back and out there with that school traffic. And also, as you notice, we are currently at full staff in patrol today, so I don't know how long that'll last, but while it's lasting, we're gonna enjoy it. So, the officers have been working quite a few long hours out in the heat and some days over there. So we've been in the past taken care of, and we've actually very well, we got back from the academy. We got 4 days to go to the academy, starting September the 10th of next year. This year, I'm sorry, and she'll be graduating by December. So as of right now, while we're full staff, in about a month, we'll lose forward to the academy, but we come back there, we'll be fully certified officers.
Questions for the chief from the council?
No question, just a comment. You know, Chief, I would appreciate any help the department could do for that school intersection over there, because I have several parents on that street that used to let the kids walk back and forward to school, but they're seeming to be fearful now, especially since that accident happened on last week there. And I had an observation, in most places you go to the school section, the speed limit dropped down. I don't see that gradual decline in our school zone. It jumps from 35 to 45 right there. If there's anything we can do about that, I would appreciate it.
I can look into that, but you know, we don't control it.
I understand.
But I can look into that.
Thank you very much.
As a matter of fact, we do have a standing appointment with Superintendent Cornish this Wednesday at 9 a.m. We're going to visit the school and go over the school traffic and see what we can do to best rectify it. And we are going to have officers over there throughout the school year to help with the school traffic. So actually bear with us, because it's something new, the new school over there. You understand, it's going to be a task, it's going to be something difficult.
Yes, it is.
And, you know, we can discuss maybe a traffic light on that particular part of Market Street out there to maybe slow down that traffic, but that's something that we can't dictate. hoping we can, get some help over there. But most definitely, our office will be over there helping out the school traffic. We're going to try to make it as convenient for the parents and the teachers out there as possible.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Tollfree, we're not, adverse to talking to the highway department about it, I promise you. So whatever the determination is, we'll certainly try to lend our voice to what we think needs to be done out there. So, point's very well taken. It'll be the first time in my lifetime, I think we got the entire Warren School District in one place. And while that's gonna be wonderful in a lot of ways, it is gonna create some traffic.
Especially with that being a state highway.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
On both sides.
Both sides of the campus, yes, exactly.
And with the city has no control over that.
Any questions
The
for,
light, does the light flash when school,
Yes.
okay, during those hours? I think I see in most cities during the hours that the students are.
I think the issue that we have though, all of the light flashing, it doesn't stop the traffic.
No, it
So
doesn't.
traffic continues to flow.
Yeah,
And
but people are late for work and.
trying to get out into the traffic. But that's where the confusion comes in. So like I said, we'll have our office over there.
Grandparents and great-grandparents driving?
Yes.
And we parents dropping off.
are you trying to insinuate something, there over the,
She talked about it.
that's kind of the way I took it too. But I
One of those.
just a little humor, I'm just.
It's a little harder for them to navigate that full lane.
Yeah, it's gonna be different for sure. Chief, anything else for the chief? I don't wanna belabor the point. Any questions for him? Thank you, chief. Police committee, Alderman Burks Frazier, we've, got a couple things there. Now, one of them is still the animal control truck, which we still don't have. We're trying to find a good used vehicle, not spend a fortune. That's turning out to be a little difficult, but we're trying. But anyway, you're recognized.
Okay. So, the police committee met, 2 months ago? And we discussed the, number of complaints about dogs running in the city limits, stray dogs, dogs that have been let out, puppies. So I called around to, some surrounding cities and then looked online and found that Arkansas is one of 20 states that does, or 30 states, sorry, that doesn't have a overall state policy on dogs. So the surrounding areas we looked at were Monticello, Dumas, McGee, I called Pine Bluff, and Fordyce. Some of them had, they have a minimum amount of time that a dog comes into a pound before they are euthanized, and there's a maximum amount of time before they're euthanized. So as a committee, we looked at how much money we had spent on dogs in the pound, and nobody loves dogs more than me. And, the feasibility of, one of the suggestions was maybe to add on to the dog pound. But as a committee, we thought if we made more space, then we would have more dogs. If we made a space for 50, we would have 55 dogs, because they are everywhere. So the committee came up with the, suggestion that we enact euthanization of dogs that are there in the pound. A minimum of 5 days, a maximum of, what was our final date? 21. Because we looked at it, like last month, we spent $2,723 alone on dogs. Whether it's boarding them, we've been boarding them at the local veterinarian.
Now, let's make it clear, we're talking about dogs that would have been in the shelter,
Right.
but we didn't have any room.
Right.
That's the problem we're running into.
So, and we are not, and we have people that help adopt the dogs out, which is the ideal situation, but we are not a shelter for adoption. We are a city-run dog pound, which used to, there was a lot of volunteers that helped adopt the dogs out and, take care of the dogs, but now it's still going on, but not like it was. And we just have a problem. And the dog catcher can get them, but if he has no place to put them, and then we board them, it's just ended up a lot of money. I looked, since January, we've spent $6,199 on, animal control. And that's, even though that's not a large amount of money of the city budget, that's still money that could have been spent elsewhere. It's $19 to euthanize a dog, and personally, I would rather see a dog euthanized than to stay in a kennel or the dog pound for 6 months. And most of the dogs that are adopted are puppies or they're small dogs, and the dogs that are left in the kennels are big ones. And the likelihood, after a month of a dog being in the kennel, being in the pound, if it hadn't been adopted in a month, it's probably not gonna be adopted. So, I move that we place that ordinance number 949 on its first reading.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second to place, we have a proposed ordinance, it's proposed ordinance 949 on its first reading. Is there any question or discussion about the first reading? All those in favor, show of hands. 6 in favor. An ordinance to amend ordinance 381, this is our existing, that's our existing ordinance, in relation to animal control and impounding stray dogs. Be it ordained by the City Council of Warren, Arkansas as follows. Ordinance number 381 of the City of Warren, Arkansas is hereby amended to include the following. Section 1. The city shall keep or impound all unidentified or strayed dogs caught by the animal control officer a minimum of 5 days and up to a maximum of 21 days before euthanizing an animal. Section 2. The city shall make a record to be kept of each dog or animal brought to the shelter and the date placed in the animal shelter. Section 3, the city shall make efforts to find the owner of the dog if any exists. Section 4, the city shall make efforts to find a home for animals brought into the shelter. The city shall keep or impound a stray animal for a maximum, again, of 21 days. Section 5, the city shall use only licensed veterinarians for euthanizing any dog necessary. Section 6, emergency. There is an urgent need to more stringently regulate conditions under which dogs shall be kept. Therefore, an emergency is hereby declared to exist. This ordinance being immediately necessary for the preservation of the public's peace, health, and safety shall take effect and be in effect from and after its adoption. That's first reading.
I move that we suspend the rules and place ordinance number 949 on its second reading.
Motion's made and seconded to suspend the rules and put proposed ordinance 949 on its second reading. Is there discussion of that motion? Yes, ma'am.
Under section 6, the word section is misspelled.
I actually caught that when I was, we will correct that, I promise you. Got 2 ayes in it. Okay. Okay. All those in favor, show of hands. 6 in favor. Ordinance number 4, proposed ordinance 949, ordinance to amend ordinance 381 in relation to animal control and impounding stray dogs.
I move that we suspend the rules and place ordinance number 949 on its third reading.
Second.
Motion's made, seconded. Yeah, it'd be third and
Final.
final reading. Yes, that's fine. Got it. Question or discussion on this motion? All in favor, show of hands. I see 6 in favor. Proposed ordinance 949, ordinance to amend ordinance 381 in relation to animal control and impounding stray dogs.
I move that we adopt ordinance 949.
Second.
Motion and second to adopt proposed ordinance 949. This is for adoption of the ordinance. Question or discussion? All in favor, show of hands, please. I see 6 in favor. There is an emergency clause if you wish to adopt it.
I move that we adopt the emergency clause.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded that the emergency clause be adopted. And just for everybody's information, the council knows this means it goes into effect most ordinances have to be published first, and that's the purpose of the emergency. Okay, ready to vote? All in favor, show of hands on the emergency clause. 6 in favor, the ordinance is adopted. Thank you very much.
Mr. State Legislature, do that,
Do what?
about the emergency clause.
Well, they can have some issues over that. Okay, I think that's all police committee, unless there's something else.
That's all I have.
Yes.
He was waiting on me to say something about the expense, but I wasn't going to say anything. We like it. We like it.
All right, thank you.
For helping us out.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor.
Chief in the red shirt. That's the fire chief. Chief Moore,
Good evening.
they got your monthly report. If you can make any comments you need to on that, answer any questions.
Yes, sir. We responded to 17 calls during the month of July. 4 were phoned out to the entire department. Total volunteer payroll for the month was $15,5750. We did have a training session on July the 24th on the house at 609 Cary. We did not burn the house. We just used it for various and sundry other things. We'll get to that later if we think we can safely do it under our new policy. 16 members were present. For the month, we spent a lot of time keeping the pile at the Bryant building wet and down to the last, I think it's pretty well over with as far as I know from our standpoint. So
Saved us a lot of money.
hopefully we're under DEQ regulations and won't be in any more problems with that. The big news is on July 28th, we received notification that we were awarded a assistance to firefighter grant.
This is item 2 on your agenda. Go ahead.
That is a 95% matching grant. I think y'all were given a invoice in your packet Thursday that was $230,505. I received some information Thursday that we could rearrange this and get some more stuff for about the same money. So the new price is $230,707. So about $202 difference. So bottom line is the federal part will be $219,528.57, and the city's part will be $11,178.43. So this will be 24 new air packs, 56 bottles, a new compressor, new filling station that they'll be enclosed. When we fill a bottle right now, we're filling bottles on an open pipe, which is kind of dangerous. So, yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion this time, we make the match for the grant.
The motion's made, seconded. See if we got any discussion. Just for everybody's ear, I think this was applied for maybe last year.
And in February this year.
In February this year, I'm sorry. Okay, so it's been applied for there, but we do have a timeline on this, so we need to go ahead and act on it. So thank you, Mr. Free. Any question or discussion on the motion? This will be a major benefit to the fire department. And upgrade. All in favor, show of hands. I see 6 in favor. Okay. Chief, one other thing, and I wanted you to call to their attention, and where am I with here? On the regular report.
Yes, sir.
You did include, I think the council had asked for this, but about collecting from insurance on calls in the city limits. And I think you've got that
Yes, it's in there.
attached to your report. Y'all had asked to make sure we included that regularly so you'd see what we're collecting.
And we did have two additional ones on there that both had insurance policies, so hopefully we'll be collecting from them.
Now, everybody's insurance policy don't provide that, so we don't get to collect on every fire. Depends on their insurance policy, but if they got one that does, we're trying to collect the money.
And it doesn't cost the person, the homeowner, or the.
Well, they've already got the insurance.
That's what I'm saying, I just want everybody, it's not an additional charge on top of.
And we have a form letter that clearly states that this is not your bill.
Right.
Send this to your insurance.
And this is nothing new, this has been going on
Right.
for a series of years.
Right.
Anybody got any other questions for the chief? We do have one item under fire committee. I don't know if y'all had a chance to meet Mr. Tollfree, but it's a kind of a routine matter, and I'll recognize you.
We'll try to expedite that, get that held.
Yeah, I'm talking about the fire duties.
Oh, we'll make a motion to go ahead and play on this.
Okay.
Second. 32 firemen's at $20, $640, is that your motion?
Yes.
Who made the second?
I did,
Okay.
as long as I was clear as to what.
The chairman of the Ways and Means Committee is making sure the right amount of money goes in there, is what that was.
She's good at that.
All right, that is an appropriate motion, second. Any discussion? All in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, 6 in favor. And that's all we got, Mr. Tollfree, unless you know something else.
Nothing further.
Okay,
Move
thank you,
on
sir.
right along.
Thank you, sir.
And can we make sure that, this is taken care of in a timely manner?
Yes, ma'am.
Each year,
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what we're gonna try to do.
thank you.
Okay. Sanitation manager, Mr. Johnson. First thing we're gonna talk about is solid waste, so let's give whatever report you got on that right now.
You referring to Lake Village?
Well, I'm just your regular report,
Okay.
if anything you need reported.
Everything's running good. We do have 2 openings. We have 1 full-time driver opening, and we do have a part-time thrower opening. So we are advertising, and we have received a few applicants.
Is this CDL required?
No, sir, not on, well, oh, yes, sir, on the driver, yes.
That's what I meant, yes.
Full-time. Other than that, everything in the sanitation department running good. Equipment's all running good. Moving right along.
And I think our expenses are somewhat down on maintenance and repairs right now.
For this month,
For this month?
yeah. Good bit.
It's been a big issue this part of the year. Any questions for Mr. Johnson on solid waste? Alderman Atkins, we've got a couple of items there under your committee. None of them are ready for any action, but we probably do need to get your committee back together in the near future, so unless you got something you wanna report right now. All right, we'll shift to the building official, Mr. Johnson, switch hats here. They've got your, permit report and all that stuff there. Go over anything you need to.
Had permits issued, for the, children's facility out here. They're adding another area for the kids.
You talking about the Human Development Center?
Sorry, I went blank there for a second. And, few electrical permits and, some plumbing permits. We've done several inspections, throughout the city. Cato's building up here, which is owned by 2 different owners. They had an agreement that they had to put back some certain things. We had to inspect that and get everything settled on it. Other than that, it's just business as usual on the building part.
Anybody got any questions on the building permit, building inspections, anything on any of that? What he's referring to at the so-called Cato's building up here, as he said, that building was owned, Cato simply rented it or leased it. And, so they have redivided it again. There's a wall between the 2 properties, and that's what he's talking about. So we're hopeful something will end up in both those places eventually. But, anyway, go ahead. Let's go to the property cleanup and just kind of give a general.
I believe we're pretty much 99.9% through with the Bryant building, and hats off to everybody that was involved in it, street crew, fire department, everybody that had anything to do with it. It really saved the city a lot of money, compared to some of the original costs that it was gonna take to get the building down. We've been in compliance with ADEQ the full time, and, other than getting a report from them on saying we're done, I would feel like that we've done a great job, and, I hope that someone will take it and run with it and maybe make more better with it. Any ideas, I'm sure the city would love to hear. But like I said, my hat's off to everybody that was involved in it, the county, and the police department, fire department, and certainly the street department.
I'm gonna suggest that we, get the act probably, I think Community Economic Development Committee, probably the appropriate committee, unless y'all have other thoughts, and just start, you know, brainstorming what y'all wanna do long-term or even short-term with the property. The city does own it, so it's under our control. And, you know, that's something we just gotta get to working on and talking about, see what we can do. Now, you had some other properties, have you given them a list?
Well, this list that I have, I thought they had the 107 Phillips on their form, but, I don't know, do y'all have the 107 Jesse Jacobs?
Yes, send a
Property.
copy of the letter.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I want a very brief report on what all we've been working, some things we've been working on that are not ready to be ordered, cleaned up, or have been cleaned up.
We've had
You can give
several.
us something on
I
that.
started out today, we had like 12, I narrowed them down to 8 because some of the stuff had been done, and then after going and talking to them, I've narrowed it down to 4. I've got one on West Central, and then there's the list, I'm sorry. These will be ready, very soon.
All right, copies for,
Yes,
but on this thing.
I don't have, it just, these came in right under the gun of tonight's meeting, and it was a good thing I went to check them again today because they, a lot of them have been, taken care of. I've got one on, Phillip Street that has met the time of the lot complaint that was about the vehicles, abandoned cars, logging equipment, basic shape of the yard, general cleaning of the yard. I talked to Mr. Jacobs. As far as he's concerned, with the vehicles and log trucks and the equipment sitting on the side of the street, it's all staying there. He is cleaning up a little bit. He put a dumpster in the side of his house and he's thrown some articles in it. But that's up to y'all, whatever y'all wanna do. The time's up for the vehicles to be gone and the junk to be sitting in the yard. Way over past time.
So we're the point, if the city council desires to take any action, it's time to do it.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Now, on the vehicles, I haven't inspected it, but I know where you're talking about. Are there uninsured, unoperable vehicles sitting in the property?
Yes,
We got the authority, it's just to take care of that.
yes, but I was just,
But now the log trucks, which I guess is part of his business,
yes, sir.
and that's what's being parked mainly in the front of the house. Maybe some in the yard sometime.
It's been in the same position for a while, but Mr. Jacobs has been sick. I think he's in the process of getting a little better. I don't know where to stand on this. I've got the lady that made the complaint. It was against the log truck, against the log trailer, and all the equipment that was in the yard and abandoned cars. And like I said, time's up, so it's whatever y'all wanna do.
City council, it's basically in your hands, Mr. Tolford.
Well, I've had some calls from county officials and certain people around town to inform me, like Rob said, Mr. Jacobs had been battling cancer the last 2 years. And, also, like I said, when I went to check it out, there's been some improvement on the thing, as he has said, trying and had other people around trying to help him. I wish we could give him a little more time on the property and be able to, his truck is workable on the log truck part, but on the, non-insurance vehicles and things like that, I don't know where we had anything to sign on that, but as far as his property, his business and the house, he's working on all those.
Council, you've got a couple of options. You can just say, well, you know, okay like it is, or you could give a specific time period, of more time. As far as the inoperable vehicles, it doesn't require any city council action. And I would strongly recommend that we proceed, administration proceeds with that. I'm taking a hard line on this because we got a lot of problems in town that need to be cleaned up. But that's just that part, just inoperable vehicles that are not insured, don't run, just sitting there on the property. And as far as the rest of it, ordering to clean up and the log truck, and I think our ordinances, you correct me, Rob, if I say something wrong here, I think our ordinance does not allow them to have loaded log trucks.
But it hasn't been.
But that, I'm not sure that's been the case in this.
It hasn't. I would make a motion, we give an extension on this cleanup force house in the yard.
Would you make a specific time period on that?
Well, if
It can be
council,
reviewed again at that point.
well, if council will see fit to, but that would be my motion to add that on.
If he's got people trying to help him, you know, if it's evident.
Yeah, he got,
that-
county
if-
officials.
I think if we give them like, I know if it was somebody I was trying to help, if I knew there was a date, if I knew of the date, then it would, I think they would do everything they could that they were gonna do by that date. As long as we set a date, and I don't think it should be a year, because we don't live there. We're not, I'm not the one that has to live beside it, so.
What about 90 days?
Did the complaint come from, someone that lived on Phillip Street?
No, ma'am, it's true.
Someone who doesn't have to look at it every day. Cause I don't wanna kick a man while he's down, you know, that
He's
kind of.
down.
Well, it has been vast improvements made, but then I go back to the person that made the complaint, if they're happy, if they're not, then they can bring it in front of y'all. So
She can go, or they can go help him.
I've got another one, I've got another one on the list to bring to y'all tonight too, so,
Well, let's stick to this right now. Let's make a decision on this one. I think,
I moved that we give him 90 days. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's just, you're second on that.
Oh, second.
okay, so I got a motion.
You know he made
Did you making the motion that it be
Yeah.
90 days?
Yeah.
And
I'm
you're
second.
seconding the motion. Okay, you got all that? Okay, that's appropriate motion. Any, other discussion on the motion? We will, of course, notify him of that and, you know.
I have
hopefully-
visited with him several times, and we're talking, we're doing better at it.
But I'd like to thank Rob for doing the steps to get to where we are. Like, cause I know that once you do hard work, if somebody comes back and says, we set this hard day, you know, we set a date, and then now we appreciate the work that was done, or at least I think.
Okay. Well, the motion on the floor and second is that, they be given the extension of 90 days to try to bring everything into compliance as best we can.
Clarity, does that mean that the council review it at that time, or does it?
No, I think it will come back to y'all,
We'll rule.
come back to you again and see if you're satisfied.
What you're saying.
Yeah, yes.
Be in November, correct?
90 days from whenever we give him a letter. I think that'd be the appropriate way to do it. Whenever he gets a letter, he has 90 days from then. Okay, anybody else? Any other discussion? All in favor, show of hands. I see 6 in favor. Thank you. We'll follow up. Now, what's the other one you got?
David Forrest property on South Myrtle. Mr. Harding made the complaint. I talked to Mr. Forrest, time's up on it also. Mr. Forrest did mow. I went by and talked to Mr. Harding to see if he was satisfied with the way the lot was taken care of, and he is not. So the next step would be, y'all tell me.
Now, this is what Mr. Hardy spoke about earlier at the,
So the lot was mowed, but not all of it. Is that like,
The lot was mowed, yes, ma'am. And Mr. Forrest talked to me about, he was gonna leave some of the trees. I don't have an ordinance against trees. I've got an ordinance,
about farm animals in the city limits?
as long as they're not swine.
well, wait a minute. Let's be clear about that now. He's correct technically that you can keep horses but they still gotta be in a sanitary as much, you know, kind of position, I mean, they're creating a nuisance, thank you for the right word, you know, odor, and of course,
Noise issue also.
the noise issue's kind of another thing.
That doesn't fall down.
So, I mean, there are things that the city, you know, can do with some of that. Now, the real question, I think, before y'all is if you're satisfied that he's mowed enough or bush hogged enough or happy. And, you know,
Okay, we heard that he bush hogged part of it, and then we just heard you say that he mowed it. So, did he mow it all, or did he just mow a portion of it? How is he in compliance with your statement?
He cut the grass, let me say that. Am I right, Victoria?
I have pictures for,
Okay.
I have pictures for you.
so we can't get the audience involved in this discussion at this point, but I understand. But I mean,
It's just not to the complainant's, satisfaction, the way it had been kept over all the years.
This is undeveloped property, am I correct about that? I mean, there's never been anything built on it or anything like that. But it's just, the complainant does not believe it. Council, you need to look at it. And I think the advisory committee that's been appointed can certainly look at it and make a recommendation.
That's not their role.
Exactly what their role, part of their role, yes ma'am. That's exactly what y'all approved in the rules.
No, well, it wasn't what I approved and what I.
Well, I'll tell you, that's exactly part of the function of that committee, is to review these things when they become up for condemnation. And if y'all don't wanna do that, that's fine.
We
But
didn't specifically say condemnation as far as.
no, you're misstating what I'm saying now. What I'm saying is that they were supposed to, when we got to the point that Mr. Johnson has, you know, notified owners, the time has run out, that then you ask them to take a look, see if they believe it is a violation according to our codes, and just give y'all their recommendation about it. Not, they can't vote to condemn the property or order it cleaned
They can't vote
up.
to condemn. The recommendation was for the individuals on the Citizen Advisory Committee within their zone, their ward, to come to their representative to talk about different issues. That's the sanitation, that's the building codes official's job to recommend properties to the council to be on condemnation.
And that's what he's doing.
And so, but as far as like the situation on Myrtle Street, I see it all the time. Because I look at it on my way to church.
I'm sorry, Myrtle Street.
Myrtle Street, when we're talking about with the donkey out there.
Oh, yes.
Now, that's what I'm talking about. You ask yourself, would you wanna look at that every day?
There are laws on that can be enforced. Y'all don't have to act on the donkey. All y'all are needing to look at, I'm having a hard time getting my point across apparently on this, but what y'all approved was exactly to have that committee to have the authority to look at something and make a recommendation. Now, if you're not gonna do it, what you need the committee for? You can go look at it.
It was my understanding that committee was going to review things that would enhance the city of Warren, but.
And this was part of it.
We already have that in place. We already have an ordinance in place.
And that changes nothing. The committee's simply making a recommendation if they agree with if they think it's a violation. I just suggest y'all do away with that if you're not gonna follow what you approved. And that is what you approved. It's in the minutes. But I don't care. It don't make me any difference about how you do it. But it's the council's decision to make a decision about this.
Madam,
Talk about the motion.
do you have a copy of the guidelines?
Y'all are getting totally off point. This is not about the rules of the committee. You've got the authority.
We're gonna stay on hand at this point right here, talking about this particular part.
Yes, ma'am.
And then this other, we'll have another meeting.
That's, I agree completely. And whatever y'all wanna do about that's fine. That's fine.
So right now, we're up to the point where you're talking about Myrtle Street, and Harding Park. What are we gonna do about it?
Yeah, it's y'all's call.
The complaint was unsightly, unsanitary, being the grass and weeds and stuff like that, okay? That's all I'm worried about. he's at the point that David has cut the grass to a point and decided to leave the trees.
Is there still grass not cut?
I'm sure there is throughout. I mean, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, it's not, everything's not 10 inches or below on the carpet, but I see Mr. Forrest's point and I see Mr. Harding's point. It's not as pretty as it was when the day he moved in next door. A new property owner has changed it. Mr. Forrest asked me if he can plant trees on the place. There's no ordinance that says he can't plant trees. So does he have to bush hog the trees? I don't have an ordinance that says you got to bush hog the tree. I don't know.
So we're looking at unsightly, and so if he's taking care of, Mr. Forrest is mowed and taking care of that, but the donkey issue and the noise and the smell and that's a completely separate issue than.
Yes.
Now, the unsanitary would also, could fall underneath this too, because I was there at Mr. Harding's today, and
You wouldn't wanna walk out to that?
no, and I don't think anyone in here would.
Then we need to do something.
That needs to be done. Now, as far as the property being weed eaten, I don't believe it's been weed eaten, it has been bush hogged. Does the property need to be weed eaten? I guess so, under our ordinance. Is it weed eaten? No. Are there trees growing? Yes. When, I'm sure when Mr. Harding bought it, he was as slick as that table, and everything from side to side, and it was, I remember. Now it's not. But the only ordinance I have is unsightly, unsanitary, and a 10-inch grass rule.
Council members, can I make a recommendation to you? I mean, y'all do what y'all see fit, of course, because it's your call. Why don't you table this and y'all go look at it and see if you believe it's a violation of our ordinances? That is your job legally.
But if it's unsanitary, then we know.
That part will be something that we would be using our building codes to enforce, which includes issuing a ticket or some kind of violation if it's not.
So we can do that tonight.
You don't have to do that at all. We can take care of that administratively.
I'd like to see that done for sure.
So, Mr. Johnson, let me ask a question. When you brought up these four, the next step is for us to make a motion to have these properties condemned?
The next time you see them, yes, but if they're not completed by next city council.
Okay.
They'll fall within, one of them fell in today, I believe, one falls in tomorrow as far as the timeline. But there was a pretty good list, but after going around looking at them today, that came down to those that's all that's left right now.
So we weren't gonna move on the South Myrtle number 936 tonight anyway.
No,
So next meeting, we would have done that, or we would do that.
well, you could legally, you can, but it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
The time frame is up.
Is that 11720 West Pine, is that the house that's everybody takes pictures of and puts on
Right,
Facebook?
Jack?
Yes.
Yes,
That's a completely another issue. But
Right.
yes, it is. We're moving toward it too. I don't think anybody argue about that one. Yes, Mr. Tilley, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, before we got into all of this, the thing about it is, it's been a recurring issue. Because, I want to see Mr. Harden satisfied so we don't have to go through this again and again each year. And I talked to Mr. Forrest about it, and he was under the impression that he was leaving a buffer there so he wouldn't have to look at it. And I would wish that we could come to an agreement that they both could be happy with, and we don't have to go around through this instead of having something that's confrontational.
You, as you council, this is your decision to make at this point.
I talked to Mr. Harding last week, and I also talked to Mr. Forrest last week, and told him what the situation was. That there wasn't anything against the trees being grown on the property. And I also told Mr. Forrest he needed to go talk to Mr. Harding to see if they can work out the differences that hadn't been done.
But you're saying that the 10-inch rule has done that as far as it relates to the grass?
Part of it, yes, ma'am. I mean, it's not weed eating.
Part of it, but not all of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That the section that's been weeded or mowed, or is it close to Mr. Harding's home?
Some of it, some of it, he did leave it, he says a buffer of trees, so Mr. Harding would have to look at it. But I don't have ordinance against trees, I'm sorry, I don't. But as far as the property being cleaned and weed eating, yes, it needs to be there. In my opinion. And the sanitary part, if you saw what I saw today in his backyard, right to the left of it, just north of his property. There's a few of you in here that know me, you know what would happen, so, and that's all I'm gonna say, but, it's bad, it's bad. It's worse than any dumpster I have in town. It's bad.
Then we should not subject our citizens to have to live like that. It's a done deal, like you said. I mean,
Council, you got, anything you wanna instruct us what to do or not?
Since the property is actually in Ward 3, what would be your recommendation? Or your motion?
Well, like I said, one part is out of our hands anyway, that's already handled. And get the understanding of the next meeting, what needs to happen, and then go ahead on and proceed with it. The recommendation.
So you're not making a motion to move forward?
I wouldn't understand it if we was to that point.
You
Can we?
can. Yes.
Yes,
you
he
can.
can, actually, he just wasn't on the minutes, the time's there, it just wasn't on the minutes.
You can wait till next month. I mean, that's your choice, that's your decisions on this.
I move that we table the condemnation list until September.
Wait a minute, let's make sure everybody's straight. The only thing we're talking about y'all voting, ordering done,
Right.
we use the word condemnation, but ordering done, is the grass. The issue with the animal and the noise and the odor are health issues that fall under our codes that we can enforce administratively, even if that requiring issuing a ticket and carrying them to court. Now, I guess if y'all wanna include that in your consideration, that's okay, but you don't have to do that. What you're talking about is the sightliness and the growing up of the property. See, the original complaint did not, I don't think, said anything about the donkey and the odor. We found that out, later on. So, I mean, we can deal with that, or try to administratively. Y'all's decision is about the condition of the property as far as the lot and the grown up, what have you. Is that clear to everybody?
Two separate issues.
Not belittling those issues, I'm just saying it's a different way we deal with those. I'm sorry, if you wanna make a motion, go ahead.
Let's just make a motion, he talking him having cut the grass.
Well, what have you done to do it? See, you got, yeah, this has gone on a long time, this whole concept, and for some reason, we can't go in there and clean it up unless y'all authorize, order it to be done. When that happens, we know, if you do it, then we go back to the owner and say, okay, you get it done. If you don't, then we go in, the city, or hire somebody, we go in and we do it and we send them a bill. Now that's the way this works by state law. But me and Rob can't order that done.
That's what I'm saying.
I make a motion that we give the property owners for the forest on South Martin Street, a time frame to go in, 3 weeks. That way we have our next meeting, everything is brought up to code, cleaned up, safety issues all taken care of. If not, it will be back on our list for condemnation.
By next city council.
Next city council.
Second.
All right, that's an appropriate motion, seconded by Mr. Tollfree. Any other discussion on that? Now, this is not ordering it cleaned up, it's just telling them they need to do it again. That's what it is. Right? Make sure I'm interpreting that right.
City council for condemnation or whatever.
That's what I understood, yes, ma'am. Just want to make sure I got it right.
Okay, so that is.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. If this passes, council members, we're gonna notify them in writing again. This has been done, I think. But we're gonna do it again and give them 3 weeks. And if it's not done, it will come back to the city council for y'all to take whatever action y'all see fit. Is that what everybody's on the same page with?
That's what I heard.
Okay, I'm gonna call for the vote unless there's any more discussion. All in favor, show of hands. I see 6 in favor, that is sufficient, thank y'all. Not trying to be out of line, but we've got to follow the law. And that law decision is y'all's to make on the orders. Okay, thank you. So you working on that? Yes, that wraps all that up, doesn't it, Rob?
Yes, sir, does anybody have any
Do
questions?
y'all have any questions on anything else about properties?
What about the pink restaurant? It's looking terrible again.
Mr. Hargis, has been sent a letter.
Okay. You know, it cleaned, at one time it was okay,
Right.
but now it's,
That's been a while since
Yeah.
it's okay.
Getting pretty bad.
We had a
It needs condemned, if you look inside of it.
can't do too much.
Okay.
I agree.
All right, any other questions on, folks, we're getting complaints coming in on these properties almost faster than we can keep up with them, and I acknowledge that. And we're looking at all sections of town, we're not picking on any one neighborhood or anything, I promise you. We were going through street by street, but we're getting so many complaints, we don't hardly have time to do that, so we're trying to just, work it as fast as we can. And be fair, and, I appreciate y'all's, that desire to be fair and to try to do everything the way it needs to be done. Thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Street foreman is not, here tonight, he's off, he had a little medical procedure today, and hopefully he'll be back tomorrow, but that's why, if anybody got any questions on any of the street work, I can just tell you we're, cutting grass on public right-of-ways as fast as we can cut it, the way it's all been
I appreciate
going.
the street department for cleaning up the back alley.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
did an awesome job, cause it was pretty bad.
It was.
They did a really good job.
Went back out.
Behind my office, Cato's, Eagle, and I had talked to a few of the business owners themselves about trying to keep their
Good.
section clean.
Appreciate that.
But, they did a good job.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. We're still doing ditch cleaning. We're trying to move around different sections of town. But anyway, anybody got any questions? All right, let's try to move along. Street committee. Bids are due tomorrow. We couldn't make it work out where we'd have it for you tonight with the advertising, but we hopefully will have some bids for y'all to look at and see where we are. Anything else you want? Okay, community, economic development, Alderman, Marshall.
I don't have anything at this time, but I'm gonna schedule a meeting.
Okay. could we go into executive session at this point for a little report to
Yes.
you? And then I think there may be a number of things. I need a motion on that.
I make a motion to go into executive session.
For what reason?
Personnel.
Okay? A question, all in favor, show of hands. Okay, would y'all be willing to go upstairs with me?